police officer in Blue Island. And I loved fitness, I loved firearms. And so the police department was offering a test. And at the time, going back, almost everybody I knew wanted to be a cop at that time. It was highly sought after. People, and I think it's totally different today, I don't know, but people really wanted that job. It was a good job. And so I'm like, maybe let's take a look at that. And so I took the test and left my corporate job. Never looked back.
So law enforcement is a demanding career, especially for women. What challenges did you face as a young officer, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to too much on the female thing because I try to, do a good job and not let that be something that holds me back. But I'd also be lying to say if that wasn't a factor on certain things. I mean, I could remember being in the 25th district and the TAC lieutenant being like, we already have a female on the team. We're not going to take you on the TAC team. And it's like, what? There's, how many guys on the team, and we're working hard. We're getting hot cars. We're recovering firearms, and you can't take us on the TAC team because we're female. Or we had a commander I had a female partner who was smaller than I am. Thankfully, I'm a big girl, so that helps me. But I had a partner that was smaller, and he told us, we don't want you two females working together at the time. So there was a lot of that stuff being female.
And it has changed, and for the listeners, I know Karen and I went to the academy together.
029 Charlie?
Yeah, we were in the same platoon. She was probably one of my older translators.
We literally sat behind me in the academy, so we were together every single day.
It was Jermaine, Tommy's
Zamantis?
Yes, Zamantis, he's still in 14, so.
Oh, good. Oh, I have a soft spot for Zamantis.
Hopefully I see him soon,
He was hilarious. The whole little crew was actually hilarious.
Yeah, we had a group. So you worked in patrol in a lot of units and in intelligence. So which assignment taught you the most about yourself?
That's a good question. I think all of them taught me something. Going to 25, it's super busy. But the culture in 25, and I don't know if it's still like this, was a tough culture at that time. They used to say it was built on Indian burial ground. So it was definitely a tough culture, because there were cliques and people that worked together, and they were going to sort of haze the new people coming in. So there was a little bit of that. And for whatever reason, I stand out. People love me or hate me. So I recognize that. So I learned a lot there. And I just wanted to do a good job. I just wanted to be aggressive, be proactive, get a lot of arrests, and hopefully let that speak for itself. But that was tough. I love the targeted response unit because I feel like that we had a little bit more freedom. We had a really good I had a really good sergeant for my team in targeted response unit, so that was really fun. We learned how to come in and just blanket an area and really stop what was happening if there was a shooting or a homicide the day before. So I really like that. But for sure, working for the superintendent was the most interesting, weird Twilight Zone place to work, for sure. And I worked there for a long time. I worked in the superintendent's policy group for Jody Weiss. And so that was definitely an interesting time. I grossly underestimated how political the police department and the city of Chicago are. Again, I just wanted to do a good job and be a good police officer and do right by the rest of my officers, especially in the superintendent's policy group, because we were writing policy, wrote the policy to allow Glocks, allow shorts, allow long guns. So I was trying to do the right things for officers, but it was just a tough role politically. And that was the time of the blog. Thankfully, I think that thing is gone now. It's not gone. It's back.
Something. I don't know. I never listened to read the blog.
No, me either. But
somebody just told me so I do a community policing initiative, and the next one day, what was it, 2 weeks ago, I'm getting phone calls back and forth. They're like, Manny, are they getting rid of the DCO program? And I'm like, oh no, but part of the consent decree is planted in there. But the department could change daily. So if it is, you still have a JOB.
Right.
I feel like you're still a police officer. So I like the program. I like, that we get to look at policing in a different way, which engaging the community. I just think citywide, everybody does it. It's not every district has it.
Yeah.
So it's still a pilot program. We're on the 5th or 6th year. But I like it because this has been the most fulfilling for me. That I like every time I go somebody, like yesterday, there was unfortunately the ice was in the district, in the area. And while people were protesting them, and of course we were trying to guard, to protect everybody, make sure that you're standing in the line. And they're protesting, and then they turn next to me and go, "Hi, man, how you been?" And give me a hug, and I'm like, and then of course they're effing, F you police, F the ice, and the federal government, and I'm like, And then the guy's gonna go, damn, son, she just gave you a hug like that.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, but we have an understanding. I go, she knows, personally, she doesn't hate me. She's gonna stand in her views, personal views, and I feel that, I understand that, and I respect her voice.
Yeah,
and
that's an important program.
And that's the difference from when we first started to now. That now, because of all the videos and everything that's out there that you can't hide, everybody has to show their voice, or show it, because not really hear it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have it on video. They want to put it on social TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. So it is what it is, and we have to, and luckily I've been adapted to it, and I accepted it,
Yeah.
And I found a lot of things because I was talkative, but I wasn't disengaging before. So.
Yeah. Well, when we came on, they didn't have cameras, so how weird is that? Yeah.
I know. When it first came out, it was a game changer for me in a good and bad way.
Yeah.
Because when I forgot, I did the same thing. Like I was at 25 and then I went to 14. I did other unit. But I got this Panther unit, they sent me to 14. And the first day I had to work, it was on third watch, a pilot program for the body-worn camera.
Oh, yeah.
So one guy had to wear the body-worn camera. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want that. I don't even know how to.
People used to cut the wires and stuff.
I'm not even trained, so I don't even know what to do. So, of course, we're driving by the King neighborhood, and the King started MFing us. So we get out of the car going, oh, man, come on, we have to explain to them and show some respect. And then the officers tell me, I saw, hey, Manny. They point me, he goes, the camera go, then point that somewhere else.
Yeah.
don't engage this unprofessionalism I want to do right now. But I learned quickly in 14.
Yeah.
And then you learn. A lot of it it forces you to stay professional.
Yeah.
And at least that, because I understand that if I'm going back and forth cursing a subject or a victim,
that's not the right way.
So it's more like, you gotta listen. I gotta listen.
Yeah.
I gotta learn. Okay, I understand. And so
I imagine you wouldn't even want to go out without a camera today.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's like. But unfortunately, this time I was a tech sergeant.
Yeah.
And one of my guys got involved in a police involved shooting, and of course I'm thinking about, okay, I don't know what's going on. I just heard the radio, the officer shooting. The shooting at police getting shot at it, and I run out, and it was like 2 blocks from the station in 10, and I run around, and as soon as I get in the car, the first thing I'm trying to do is like click the camera, and I go, where's my camera?
Shoot.
And I'm like, but it was like right, like when we were starting our shift. So because they went out, they came in early for overtime or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go. Where's the camera? Of course, I get there. I lost my composure. I didn't know where I was at. So I passed like the block too late. And of course, later on, they were like, sorry, you went around the block twice. I go, man, I was like lost. So
we were talking about the blog, and this was, I wouldn't even want to say the name of the blog. Not that I care, but I was a target on that blog for a long time, and so that
I remember people told me, like anytime anybody of our classmates were on it, they
well, and I worked for people that were on the blog every single day, and I didn't read it because I didn't care, but even my parents would be like, you're on the blog today. I'm like, I don't care. And it was never true, it was never accurate, but they would always have something that they bid on to write about and talk about. So that was good though, because it taught me really thick skin. It taught me to be a little bit more politically savvy and strategic in the way that I operate. And that was a good thing.
Yes, play the chess game. So
yeah.
So you founded the women's tactical team when you were doing all this in a headquarters. So something ahead of its time. So what motivated you to create that? Yeah,
so a lot of different things. My sergeant, so when I worked with the superintendent, we used to go out on Friday nights and take the superintendent out on the street and the chief of staff. And so we were out on the street in 3 one night, and we heard shots fired at and by the police, and we happened to be right there. And so my sergeant and I and the chief of staff responded, and the offender was shooting at all of us for over an hour. It was actually a shooting where one of the SWAT sergeants got shot in the vest when they arrived on scene. So it was a shooting that went on, active shooting that went on for 45 minutes to an hour. And I had maybe 5 years on the job and no military experience. My sergeant was a former Marine, and he got on the scene and knew exactly what to do. Like, you go here, take cover, don't go there. We all wanted to run down the gangway at the offender and go get him, and we all would have been shot. And so that was a real eye-opening moment for me. Like, holy crap, I need to take this more serious. I need to go to training on my own. And so I started to go to firearms classes on my own, and I'd often be the only female. I'd often be the only Chicago PD person there. There'd be a lot of suburban people or military people. And so I knew there was an audience that was hungry for more training because, as you know, CPD doesn't give you that much training. you thankfully had a military background, so you had tactics and firearms and things like that, but not everybody has that. And firearms also a perishable skill. So if you don't shoot regularly, you're going to lose it. And so I was like, hey, I think I'm going to call a meeting at the academy and just see who's interested in this. And my sergeant laughed at me. He's like, you're going to have 5 people show up. It's going to be a joke. And I said, well, that's fine. It's 5 people and we'll go shooting. And like 35 women showed up and it was awesome. And so from then on, we just started doing all this military type training and firearms and fitness and tactics and stuff I had never really been exposed to. Or maybe we had 1 day of it in the academy. And, you know, working the street in Chicago, like it's a pretty busy city and violent things are happening. I think people underestimate that. I mean, even me being far removed from it now, how much you're putting your life in danger. And you're probably desensitized because you've been on the job a long time, but it's a really, really busy city. I mean, the president's looking to bring in National Guard because there's so many homicides and things. So it's a violent city and it's a very, very dangerous job. And yes, there may be hours and hours of boredom, but there's going to be those times where you really need to rely on the tactics and training that you have. And you will not rise to the occasion. You will fall to your level of tactics. And so as I started to go to more and more training, I started to realize I needed more of firearms fitness tactics. And so formed the Women's Tactical Association, found it and led it for 5 years. And it was a great experience. We started to expand it. And it wasn't just for females, by the way. We just focused on women because that was who our audience was at the time. And went all around the country and trained with all different SWAT teams and got to go to different shooting competitions and conferences. And it was awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So looking back at it, how do you see the evolution of women in policing?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I can't really comment on today because I don't have that much exposure to it. But when I came on the job, it seemed like more women were in administrative roles, and people were probably going to kill me for saying that. I'm not saying all women were doing that, but it seemed like there was some women on the streets, but a lot of them came in and worked inside or worked in the lockup or did more administrative things. And hopefully with the WTA, it encouraged more women to be more tactical and, you know, carry a rifle,
Well, so far, since I've been a sergeant, I know intended a lot. That's a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of badasses now. And I'm not saying it wasn't like that when I came on, but it just seemed less.
You know, it appeared. Yeah, it appeared more. Like I said, because now like you said, administratively, I see more guys now. I'm like, what?
Like how many women were in our academy class? 5, maybe. Me, Earl, or there wasn't maybe like 4 or 5.
Oh yeah, now there's big.
It's like half, I would say.
There's more in times have changed. You know, people are looking at the job differently. You know, like and technology has evolved. You know that. Like I remember when I first became a sergeant, I took a tag team, and back in the days, you go out and go get a gun. You don't come to the station until you get an arrest. You know? Yeah. Now I go in and the guys are all there looking at cameras. They have the technology of camera.
Yeah, it's different.
And then it's almost like they're all like waiting to run and say, okay, you go. Who's gonna be the guy that's gonna watch the camera and the other 4 cars to go, and then they're all on car. Yeah. Okay, where did he go? Where he's moving? Because they have the technology.
Well, I'm happy to see that because it was definitely more hands-on.
And at least you don't have to put yourself like in danger to like jump on a train track to surveillance.
Yeah.
Or be in a cover or other type of covers that people use.
Those are the most dangerous time. I mean, I did Operation Angel and did undercover a lot. And those are the most dangerous things you can do.
So you left CPD. So after leaving CPD, you pivoted into the core program. So what helped you make that transition successfully?
Yeah. So while I was on the job, I got my master's degree. The police department paid for it. So hopefully that's still a benefit that they offer. And I highly recommend you take advantage of that because I had no student debt, which was amazing. And working for the superintendent, forming the Women's Tactical Association, getting my master's degree. When we were on the job, they didn't offer the promotional exam for 9, 10, even plus years.
And they started at 20 years.
So see, that's ridiculous. I would never have made it that far, but congrats to you. I'm glad you deserve it. But so they never offered the promotional exam. It's ridiculous. There's no place for us to go to move up. And so I worked at the highest levels of city government, worked with Mayor Daley, worked with the superintendent. And then they send me back to midnights and patrol, which great. That's a tough job, but it's tough to go from that to that, you know, just looking for a mental challenge. And so my sergeant was like, you should try the private sector. And he was right. And so I took a leave of absence and went to Motorola, which was a great fit because their core customer is public safety. And so I was really a subject matter expert on law enforcement for them, which was worked out great. But starting the Women's Tactical Association, getting an advanced degree, and then just the experience politically within working for the superintendent really helped translate into business and help me be more successful and be ready this second time around in corporate to really move up. I knew I wanted to move up. I was ambitious. I wanted to make more money. And so it really helped me do that.
So, what advice would you give police veterans, first responders, or officers thinking about transitioning into a new career? Because I know, unfortunately, it's happened a lot. Like, happened more than this. Somebody hit me up on social media that they like the podcast. They would give me feedback.
Good.
And then they go, they saw a picture of me, and I know my brother. And then, so of course, I'm doing now background because I went on the podcast. And then my brother go, oh, she don't work for CPD no. She left. She went to the federal side. And I'm like, whoa. And I see a lot. Like, since I've been in tech for years, a lot of those tactical guys are left either to go to all the suburbs.
Yeah.
Or to go, most of them go federal, FBI, U.S. Marshals, which, if you're, again, every department hires differently. Federal agency takes sometimes longer. Our partner, Scotty Morrison, was here with us for 11 years with CPD. And one day he just called me and told me, I got bad news. I'm going back home. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, they were not hiring. I would never became CPD if they were hiring. I got an offer to go work in Minneapolis. Yeah. And he left, and it was like a divorce for me. Like,
well, yeah, 11 years.
Like, and from the academy, because I know we did hang out around. He was triplets. He was a
triplet. I remember.
He was a triplet.
And I think people underestimate the partnership that you form with your partner. I mean, you're in a car 8-10 hours a day. That was some of the funniest times, and like I knew everything about my partners and their love lives and the chicks they're dating. Like, it was awesome. And some of the funniest stuff.
You said, I was just telling the wife. So there's a gentleman that I met in the streets. He's an entrepreneur, and I'm like, oh, man, I know this kid from somewhere, but I always know that I remember faces. I just could never put the names together, even nicknames, street nicknames, and I'm like, I know him from before. And I'm like, well, but I remember him from policing in that area that I was working. And I don't want to say too much because he may be a guest. and then I go and I'm like, so I call my old partner, Scotty, and I go, hey, Scotty, so remember this guy? And I give him the real name. Because now I know he goes by a different name. I go, what's the real name? He's like, oh, this guy, he was part of this group. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like talking to him, and I go like, and then I looked at the evolution of his life, and I was like, oh man, back then he was young, he was a teenager, and look at what he's doing now in life, and in Chicago, putting a stamp or a food mark of who his new identity is. It's crazy. Like, I'm like, and I tell the wife about it, I go, but it sucks. I gotta call Scotty, so I hope Scotty listens to his 90-100 because every time I go black, I gotta call Tommy because Tommy has been, my right side. Even though we never worked together as partners, I go, hey, Tommy's like, only him and my wife understood me. Like, when I speak my little broken English, when I get all nervous.
By the way, I have photo albums of when we were in the academy. I need to dig them out.
Oh no, yeah.
And I have pictures of everybody.
I had another one. I still have to this day. Do I dream in Spanish? So this day I'm still that has been haunting me, and just for the listeners, a fellow classmate, I'm not gonna put his name out too like that, but he asked me, I think we were last week at the academy, he goes, hey man, you got a question, do you dream in Spanish? And he made me think, I go, I don't know, I translate my dream is my dream. I go, I don't know why I do it in Spanglish. Like,
oh my gosh.
And I don't even remember my dream, so why would I know this stuff? But
we had some characters in our class for sure. But so you were asking about how I transitioned to the private sector, and I think for officers, the number one thing that I would want everybody to know is that your skills are super valuable. I guarantee you're going to come out a better leader than most people in the private sector. I feel like that was one thing I really picked up well, is how to lead teams of people, how to stay calm in high pressure situations, how to critically think when it matters. And so your skills are in demand. And so that's number one. Number two is start networking. You obviously have a great base of people that you connect with, but get out there and talk to people, and don't be afraid to make those connections and try some things out. Whether I left the job for the private sector or my own company, I was definitely going to leave the job just because I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur by heart, and I have to do my own thing. So I was going to leave no matter what. But there's definitely companies that are looking for folks that have the experience and skills that people on the police department and military have. And if they don't want it, then too bad. That's not the company for you. So
So, we talk about it because that was the next question. You're answering the question, which I always laugh. I laugh because I'm like, I have my little questions I don't forget because my mind goes everywhere. And then I'm like, oh, I got something. Oh, she answered. The answer is another question, which is perfect. But what does tactical mindset means to you, especially since, you're being now on two spectrums?
Yeah. So health and wellness is really, really important to me. So tactical mindset, yes, we're talking mindset, but it's being mentally and physically prepared for anything. And so that's something that I've definitely carried over into the private sector is mentally being ready for any situation, but also physically being ready for any situation. And so that's really, really important to me. And so tactical mindset, having the ability to face challenges, critically think, lead your team when you need to under pressure. So that's what tactical mindset means for me.
And this might be part B of that question because I think it might be answered the same way for me, but we might have a better answer. So you led teams in high stress environments, both in policing and in the business. So what's your approach to leadership under pressure?
Yeah, I think and it may come from the police department for sure. In fact, I know it does. The ability to just stay calm when people are, running around like chickens with their heads cut off. So I definitely have that ability to stay calm. And if they see the leader being calm, and I mean leader by title or leader just in general, you don't have to have the title to be the leader. And so I think that has certainly helped. And then leading up to the high pressure situation, hopefully I've displayed leadership that people are respecting up until then. And so taking care of the teams, listening to their ideas, helping coach and mentor other people, and genuinely caring about the team. Hopefully I've done that prior to those situations so people know that there's trust built up and they can rely on me. And then communication is huge. Clear communication along the way so that if I know something and to the extent that I could share it with the team, because I've led really large teams in corporate, I'm going to share it as much as I possibly can. But it's really important to me that people know that as a leader that I care about them and their careers. That was the worst feeling is when you felt like your boss or whoever doesn't care what you care about or where you want to go in your career and that there's no place for you to go. That was the worst feeling ever. And I never want to have that or have my employee feel like that. I want them to know that, hey, I got you. We're going to get you where you want to go. And here's the path to get there. They can see the path.
I agree. I had supervisors like that. That was the first question. You might even know the last name, Buster. Myron Buster asked me, like I said, to me, he's my first sergeant that I ever had on the team. To me, he's like a father figure.
I love that.
And the first question he asked me was, when I retire, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
And he goes, and I will get you there. I will help you. I'll mentor you. I'll get you. And I go like, I want to be you. And I go, I don't want to be you per se, but I want to be a sergeant that leads a team of officers because he took his time to teach me his role. And that's what a lot of times I tell my team now, I go, you guys are making my job easier because I'm teaching you how to do my job. So technically, I don't have to ask, hey, what are you doing? You already know. I'm just like signing the dotted line. I'm just double checking. And the idea of it, and I go like, well, because if you want to go somewhere, I hope you get there. I'm not going to, I don't know. Yeah, you're making me look good. But at the end of the day, it's for you. This is for you and your family. We all signed on this job.
Yeah.
Whatever job we have, not just in policing, we do that by ourselves. And at the end of the day, when you retire either by yourself or, of course, with your family. But it's an experience that you made this decision for this career.
And I had a couple bosses like that too. And I didn't know him, but I've heard great things that he was a good leader.
Because to this day, like I remember the day that they put me in for Mary. I was so crying that I had to just to call him and tell him, Marvin, they put me in for Mary, and he go, man, you didn't even promote you. Wait until you get promoted.
But just the fact that somebody saw you.
But just the fact because of everything that he taught me, I was going that route. It took a while, but it was out of my hands. Nothing that the department did or because to me it's not the department. The department I do, people do. People affect because people look at the policy differently and they affect it differently. And that's up to people. I go, don't let a boss that might be micromanager. Because some people do I'm dealing with that right now. I have guys on my team that like to be micromanaged.
They like it?
It's the new generation, unfortunately.
Oh, Lord, no. I repel it.
My point of view right now is like, I don't know how people like to be micromanaged. I go like, well, just give me the objective,
Yeah.
or give me the mission and how you want to do. And then if I find struggles, I'll come ask, I'll come ask for help. Like, well, at least I know. I have guys that I give them the roll call, tell them what to do. I turn around to do my job on the computer. I'm not doing A&A, doing anything. 10 minutes later, I turn around, there's two there. I go, what are you waiting for? There I go, sorry, we don't got nothing else to do. I go, you can't think outside the box. Like,
yeah. The absence of orders take charge.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go, okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna figure out what project I'm gonna give you. Then. And then, unfortunately, I got sick because of it.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And then we thought I was having a heart attack. Blood pressure was crazy.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Luckily, when I said my health was good, and then when we checked, it was like, my doctor was, you're stressed. I go, but I'm
stress
I'm
is the worst.
Man, I'm relaxed. I'm always happy. I'm always mad. He goes,
yeah.
He goes, but even the wife said it. She goes, you're fighting something within. And I'm like, oh. Luckily, I was vent out to her, and I'm like I call my kids. I go, my effing kids. I go, like, they're stressing me. And I'm like, what's going on? I go, like, they're gonna be told what to do 24/7, and I can't deal with that. I'm like, not even in the military. Then the military mindset, you are giving direct orders. Like, okay,
for sure,
go take care of this. When you get done, come back to me. But no, they want step by step. And then when the new role is there's no right or wrong way to find a problem and fix it. Because there could be you could go lead a path and find a problem, and you could do it the long way.
Yeah.
And do all this 20 million steps to find the solution, or there's an easy way, just take care of it. And I tell them you can do whichever way.
Yeah.
However you want to work. We got 8 hours of the day to deal with it. As long as you can find a solution and they still want to question that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it gives me something, unfortunately, like our generation, my kids right now, that my kids are always going, but why?
Yeah.
But why am I doing this? And I'm like, just get it done, man.
Yeah. That's good that you know that about your team, though. It's good to know what's driving them and what their motivators are. I mean, I'd like to give people on my team authority and autonomy, but if I see that they're struggling or maybe have questions, then obviously I'll spend more time with them. But as far as staying calm under pressure, one thing that I used to say sort of tongue-in-cheek to my corporate friends coming from the police department, I'd be like, is anybody shot? Is anybody bleeding? If not, we are good. Like, this is easy stuff. No one cares about the TPS report. We are not, in these high life or death situations. So it's pretty easy to go from that to corporate and stay calm.
So when you look back, what are your most proud moments from your years in CPD?
Yeah, obviously the people that I met along the way, and I love the purpose. And I really did come on the job to help people. I mean, you meet people on their worst day. And I know there's a lot of stress from the media, from bosses, from citizens. But at the end of the day, it was a job that I felt like I was helping people from time to time. And I was doing the hard things that maybe was not for everybody, and running towards the fire, like you say at the beginning of your podcast. And so I'm really proud of that. And that's something that I've struggled with since I left the department, is like that sense of purpose and serving a higher mission. And so that's why I love what you're doing, talking to people from police and military. And it's really important to me. And that's something that I want to do, is just continue to give back and help people along the way. And so that's something I'm super, super proud of. The Chicago Police Department is no joke. Chicago's a tough city. I mean, I would say it's the best police department in the world. There's a lot of issues, clearly, with leadership and things like that. But, you guys do an important job, and I don't think you get enough kudos for it. So I'm super proud of just being anywhere near people that do that type of work. And I come from a family of servants. My brother was a firefighter. My other brother was a police officer. So sort of in our family, and as much as, they're sort of jaded now towards public service, they did do an important job. And so it's just an honor to even be here.
So what drives you today after everything you have accomplished?
Yeah, I feel I just turned 49. And so I feel like I'm just getting started.
We're young.
Yeah. I do not feel 49. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. And I feel like I have some more in me to do. I haven't necessarily always had the time to figure out exactly what that is. So I'm spending time being a little more creative, exploring different opportunities. Certainly, I'm an entrepreneur. I've started a lot of different companies. I've advised a lot of different startups. So I'm going to continue to do things like that. But I'm super interested in psychology and research and writing. And so I'm doing a lot of that right now, writing a lot of my police experience and things that I learned on the police department and how that translated to business. So I'm just kind of exploring what it is that lights me up for once, instead of having to do something out of necessity. And so And I also don't have to do anything. I could also do nothing. But I do feel like there's things I need to do and want to do. And so that's why, connecting back to this and you was really important.
Because it's fun, like I said, and I see you, I follow you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, season 1, this is season 1. Oh, well, this is actually your interview is part of season 2, but my season 1, I was trying to find myself. Like, I was trying to find what this podcast was about. I knew what it was, mental wellness. It's my mental wellness. Like I said, a lot of people that know me, I lost 2 kids.
Yeah.
And it's always like the beast every day that when I wake up, like me and Jessica deal with it, we're like, okay, today could be, and a lot of people don't know, and for even close friends and family, they don't understand that, like, they think that, okay, it passed 9 years ago, but
no, it's
that's
not.
my child.
Yeah,
I go like, every time I celebrate something, I'm like, oh man, I wish he was there. So right now, we're planning my youngest son, his 21st birthday, and I'm arguing with him, like, why do you want to go out? Of course, I'm trying to be a crazy dad that wants to take him just a man's trip. Let's go to Colombia. Let's go to
Vegas.
Let's go to Thailand. Let's go somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
And I want it to be like a hangover kind of.
Oh, jeez.
And he's like, no. He goes, and that's when he felt like his mother. He's like, well, no, I want to go to Puerto Rico. I go, well, we're in Puerto Rico allowed.
I love Puerto Rico.
And then, and then he goes, and then I quickly remember, because I know he's still coping with depression about his brother's death. I was his best friend. He goes, I want to celebrate with my brother. And then I'm trying to get not to be religious with him and go, hey, he's always with you. He's in your home. He goes, no, that. And then I kind of picture, oh, he wants to be able to have a drink sitting down in the cemetery. Like I could foresee it because every time we go to Puerto Rico, he tells me to stop at the cemetery real quick. I want to talk to my brother. So I'm like, okay, he wants to celebrate it that way. So that mental, every time I have a guest, I'm like, well, I go bragging later. Now I get the wife involved more to come and greet the guest. But I used to do it in the basement, and I'll come up, and I'm like, man, babe, wait until you hear the story. Of course, you're like, just give me the footnotes over there. I go, no, you gotta listen.
Listen to the podcast.
You gotta follow me. You gotta and I yell at my kids. I go, I want. And the other thing is that I use my kids, and I go, I wanna be able to have a better friendship with my son, and because like my dad, I'm 3rd generation police. I don't know all my dad's stories.
Right.
I read articles.
Yeah.
I wish my dad was talking to them like I am and told his story because he never pushed none of us to join the military or to become police. We decided this on our own. But I'm like, man, what if something happens to me? How will my kids will know?
Yeah.
So, like we were telling you earlier before we started, that my son edits it, but he's listening to the story, and then the next morning, there's times I'm about to go to work. I wake him on. Did you finish editing the episode? He goes, yeah. And he'll come and he'll give me a big hug. He goes,
you learned something special.
I didn't know that about you. Or he meets famous. Like yesterday, I had a house music legend here, White Knight, who's a very good friend of mine, and he just came just to talk to me just about life. And my son comes in and he's like, oh, what's Nick doing here? And then he left to his little trip to go to NIU. And I go, he called me later at night. He go, hey, Nick's still there? And I'm like, dude, it's 7 o'clock. You left like at 4 o'clock. Like, no, I'm not having dinner with the man. And you're like, but he sees those things and he appreciates it. And we have a future guest that we love music. We're a music family. His name is Franklin Vanderbilt. And he was Lenny Kravitz's drummer.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people in Josiah's background in the school, they know who this gentleman is. And my son my son didn't believe that we knew him. So I called him. I go, hey, Franklin, my son is a big fan of yours. And he goes, oh, that's cool. He goes, but you know what, Franklin? I've been bragging that Lenny Kravitz's drummer is my good friend. He goes, man, the funny thing is that I'm in Brazil right now. And I'm bragging and I'm showing
your podcast.
The podcast and the WGN interview, the piece they did on you, and say, look, these are my boys, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm nobody. He goes, yeah, but a lot of people don't know everything you've done, especially with music with him. Like he goes, a lot of people don't know that you know how to play instruments too. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not my thing now.
Yeah.
I go, and it goes to the next thing, like the last question before we do my last part is that the question that I read or I comment that somebody's put it without the badge, who are you? So that'll be the question. Because I read that and I'm like, man, it answers this whole thing about this podcast because I always say, my dad always told me, because remember, when you patrol, when you do engaging people, that badge and that gun does not make you who you are. You know, does not define you as a human being, as a man. Because you're a father, you're a husband, you're a brother. So I read that other one without the badge. Who are you?
That's a great question. Yeah. And by the way, when I left the police department, it took me a full year and a half leave of absence to say goodbye. I mean, that was my being. I woke up every day living and breathing being the police. I loved it. I carried everywhere. So that was a tough transition. So be ready when that happens. But anyway, but yeah, without the, I mean, I have some time and space from being on the police department, so it feels like a lifetime ago. But I think I'm somebody who wants to serve. I want to be a leader. I want to disrupt things in a good way. I want to make positive change. I'm a mom. My daughter's 19. She's awesome. And hopefully the best parts of me. And I feel like I raised her really well. She's super smart, super funny, super kind. And so, yeah, I think mom, leader, somebody who just wants to serve.
So now the last part of the podcast episode, I do parts of all our guests, all our listeners get to know our guests. And so it's called Fun Fast Lightning Round.
Okay.
Just quick and engaging. Favorite Chicago neighborhood?
Snap. Ooh. Well, I live in Edison Park, so I feel like I have to say it. But I grew up in Portage Park, so Portage Park.
Coffee or tea on patrol?
Oh, coffee. 1000%. Numerous coffees.
Tougher audience, police recruits or corporate executives?
Corporate executives. They're the biggest babies with giant egos.
Favorite quote or mantra you live by?
Ooh, there was one that I wanted to read on here. It's not that I live by, but it's one that I've been thinking about lately, and you sort of touched on it a little bit. Let me pull it up really quick. So you sort of touched on it a little bit, and it's kind of a heavy quote, and it's something I've been thinking about with a lot of my writing is, you know, in my life, I've been very accolade driven and success driven, and that's not necessarily what's going to make you happy. You know, I've gotten a lot of degrees, I've gotten a lot of awards, I've had big jobs, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to sit alone in a room with yourself and be okay. And so there's a quote, Blaise Pascal, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And so the best work you can do is on yourself and get to a point where you're in a good place, and then that way you can go and help other people.
Mm-hmm. One song that gets you on the go.
I love that song, Pursuit of Happiness by Kid Cudi. I always listen to that when I run on the treadmill.
Cool. If you could teach someone one skill to every police officer, or if you could teach one skill to every police officer, what would it be?
Oh, critical thinking for sure. Yeah, the most important. Because you got to make decisions quickly that are accurate.
And I don't know if you have, but I know you're a leader. I'm also studying on best leadership book you have ever read.
I lean towards academic studies. So I do like Brene Brown. She has a book called Dare to Lead, and it's based on academic research. So I like that type of book and leadership. And what I really study is transformational leadership.
You know, I was just recently reading something about that.
Yeah.
Go to stress reliever after a long day.
Oh, lifting weights in the gym. It's my favorite place.
And then everybody gets asked this question: duty beyond duty means fill the blanks.
Serving others.
So from the streets of Chicago to the boardrooms of innovation, Karen Bartuch reminds us that leadership is not about where you work; it's about how you think, act, and serve. Her journey shows that the tactical mindset doesn't end when the badge comes off. It evolves, it adapts, and it continues to inspire. Karen, thank you for providing the resilience, courage, and compassion can coexist in every arena of life. I am Manny Guzman, and this is Duty Beyond Duty. Until next time, stay safe, stay humble, and keep serving beyond the uniform. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's find the big part. Let's make sure you're recording.
Oh, shoot. Don't say that.
That's it.
That was a great intro.
Hey, cool. Yeah.
The sound is really good, by the way.
Oh, no, it sounds way better than that. So I went for a whole year listening to everybody's podcast. And I started thinking, and I forgot to do the part of I like to give a challenge for that. But then I have some people call me and say, you didn't give me a challenge for before. I give everybody a challenge for it.
Oh, nice.
And I try to say, I'm trying to teach active duty police officers to that become guests to bring a challenge code because I'm a big challenge.
Yeah.
So, but I started listening to ideas, and it's funny. And then I always, when I think of an idea, I go walk around here. So I started following
Steve Jobs.
I found a YouTube guy. that he was from Chicago, but he talks about like, I worked in nightclub before I was on the job, so he talks about a lot of stuff, but he talks about entrepreneurship and podcasts. Oh no, maybe full recording.
Oh, that's right.